So, welcome everyone. Hello again to Vafa, and welcome to Dr. Ross McKean, who joins us today for this conversation. So, for those who don't know, I'm Tim O'Donnell, one half of True North Clarity.
And I'm Vafa, I'm the other half.
So, Ross, hi, great to meet you.
Hello, nice to meet you
So,
too. Yes, at long last.
indeed. We've been trying to set this up for a little while now, have we? So, Ross, Vafa's been talking to me about you for a little while now, and how it kind of enthused and inspired she was about the conversation the two of you had when you met for her podcast. So, bring me up to speed, Ross. Tell me what it is you're up to. Tell me what journey it is that you're on before we start picking through how that all went.
Sure. Yeah. Well, the current journey is I've just started GP training in August. I didn't suspect I would go back into training, and I think that was the point of interest, particularly for Vafa, with her previous conversations with people, that I fell back in love with medicine. And there have been two distinct periods of burnout in my rather short career. I qualified back in 2013, so 8 years of being a doctor. And there were two specific points where I thought I would be coming out of medicine altogether, perhaps retraining as a physiotherapist or something like that. And both periods where I thought were major kind of breakdowns in what I valued and where I saw my life going, but actually ended up being breakthroughs in being a bit more forgiving to myself and where my journey was going. I think the second was a lot harder to deal with because I thought I'd had everything sussed out from the first time, all the warning signs getting to that point again. But it actually encouraged me to think about some of the fixed mindsets that I got myself into that were pretty unforgiving and not allowing my career to progress. And that was largely after a really demanding job as a neurology registrar in New Zealand, where I was on a daily basis very much out of my comfort zone. So it led me to resigning for a second time in my career. And there was a fair amount of shame involved with that, especially coming back from New Zealand, which is largely regarded as one of the best places you could possibly do medicine. It's where people escape to when they're feeling burnt out often, as there was this mass exodus of doctors when there was the change of junior contracts in 2016 in England. And so to come back thinking, I've tasted the good life and still that's proving challenging for me. And as I was saying to Vafa on her podcast last time, I think a major recalibration in how I was viewing things was when I was going on a run and I realized I was going too fast because I didn't notice the nettle stings. Only towards the end, when I started to slow down, did I recognize that I had been badly stung. And appreciating the fact that that's how I'd been racing through my career, trying to do as much as I could and to prove as much as I could of myself to others, and really not questioning the real burning values and desires that I had. And wow. I think as soon as I slowed down and recalibrated, I started really enjoying the locum work I was doing. I had a wonderful two mentors that were consultants that kind of got me back onto the straight and narrow, encouraged me to talk to this GP who worked in the dialysis unit, and something in a role that I'd never really considered a GP being able to do, which was away from a GP practice, and seeing the sort of diversity that you could bring to your career if you took control of it. So there are many GPs that are able to bring a bit of university work with medical students into their work, or a bit of out of hours. And that's what really attracted me back into this training.
Wow. I love that.
So,
it's literally life on your terms, isn't it? It's a career on your terms. It's understanding what rocks your boat, and because you're quite diverse, you enjoy that diversity that your career, different bits of your career are offering you, and that's really, really important to understand what it is that you're enjoying. So you have kind of, hit upon several things that I enjoy doing this. I enjoy doing that. And that is something that most people aren't aware of. And when they are thinking about jumping out of one career into another, you said earlier you were thinking about doing physio. And I'm interested to hear, what was it about being a physio that attracted you particularly? Was it your love of sports or whatever else? Or what was it? Most people don't actually stop to think, what is it we love doing? And then choosing their next career path. They often think, oh, I'm doing this, so why don't I try that? Because they go to forums and they post questions, and I'm really unhappy with what I'm doing now. What do you think I should do? And there are like 50 different opinions that come at them, because it's worked for those particular people. But just because something's worked for one person doesn't mean it's going to work for you or for somebody else. So that's a really important point. You've got to find what you enjoy.
Ross, you've clearly given this a lot of thought over the years as you've been through the process, and again recently, and you make some awesome points there. But I just want to pick up on one of the points that Vafa was making there. We see all too frequently these very pacey conversations people having about, right, this isn't working for me, it just all feels wrong, and I'm unhappy enough, I'm super unhappy, I need to now find something else that's going to immediately put me back in my happy place. What shall I do? And it's like, wow, obviously no one's going to tell someone what they should do. And then the next thing you know, 20 different people are going, go to this specific job, go into this specific part of medicine or, your industry, because presumably it's worked for them. And I think what always occurs to me there is that, the couple of things that you have had experience of and have stepped away from, someone else with different needs or different specific circumstances, working at a different hospital or a different, in the UK NHS trust or whatever else, would have had a completely different experience of it. So they might be telling someone in your shoes, come do this, it's fantastic, I found it super fulfilling and my boss is lovely. But those experiences are not someone else's experiences. There are two aspects there. One, when people are looking to move there, it's so important to understand what is it specifically about their experience that's driving them away, and what are the specific things that they will be drawn toward. Two very different sets of factors there, and they're different for everyone. And this notion that every GP job or every physio job is the same and will be felt and experienced the same by everyone is frankly piffle. But I think within the kind of the circles around people looking to do these career shift moves, they're talked about as though they're absolutes. And I think that's the single biggest disservice anyone can do to someone they're trying to help or a colleague, is assume that everyone's experiences are the same, and that they're simply not. They're simply not. So sorry, that was my little rant following on from Vafa's fantastic point there.